Here are the best Switch 2 games for busy adults that will leave you with zero regrets. The number one game on this list got a perfect 10 from 5 of the biggest gaming reviewers in the world, and it's probably not what you'd expect. You can enjoy any of these games in as little as 20 minutes, some in under 5 minutes for a full level, and I personally bought and playtested even more than what's here to narrow it down to this list. Starting with number 7, this critically acclaimed indie was developed by one Tokyo college student who is actually studying opera. The game he developed, Downwell, was published by Devolver Digital and puts a speed-injected twist on traditional platformers. Instead of moving left to right, you must fall continuously while bouncing off enemies and using different upgrades on each run. Although that might sound exhausting at first, the gameplay absolutely nails the execution for 2 reasons. One is the control feel, which has been tightened to perfection. The responsiveness of your character's movements and jumps is impeccable, and never once while playing have I felt like a death was unfair due to the controls. The other reason is the fall speed, which always feels just right. Not too fast, but not too slow to make it feel like you're coasting. A typical play session might last 15 to 20 minutes, and the entire game can be beaten at around that time once you get good. It's a great little game to own whether you're a roguelike fan or not, and it's a fantastic choice when you only have a few minutes. It's easy to get cynical about the fenced-in ecosystem Nintendo creates for its games, but in some rare cases, I think that exclusivity actually acts as a benefit. Kirby Air Riders is one of those cases. The fact that Sakurai poured 3 years of polish into the sequel and refuses to add DLC makes this feel like a true treasure that was specially made for Switch 2 owners. That special pairing of game to console feels like a lost art form, and it feels even more meaningful because of his involvement. But nobody buys a game just because it's a legacy sequel, so what earns the game a spot on this list? First off, the controls are pitch perfect, and capture that sensation of unbridled speed, feeling like if you shook up a soda can and let it loose at full blast. The tracks themselves also offer a good amount of variety, and the different modes expand your options and make the game feel like almost a mini arcade. All those factors combine to make Air Riders an incredibly sleek, digestible experience. The entire game is built to offer short, punchy racing, making it easy to start and stop at your own pace. Whether you have 5 minutes or half an hour, Air Riders is an excellent pick for a time crunch or for a long play session. Number 5, Tetris 99. Specifically developed for the Switch, Tetris 99 brings a fast-paced, frenetic twist to this classic gaming giant. Instead of a single Tetris board or a 1v1 match, you battle against 98 other players, whose own Tetris boards are visible to the left and right of your own. As you clear lines, they get sent to other players who fill up their boards, but they can attack back and send their lines to you. It's a simple concept, but with such a crazy amount of players, the game becomes truly unpredictable. A single match can start out calm, then slowly ramp up, or it might just start out insanely fast. While multiple versions of Tetris exist on the eShop, this one captures a wild competitive nature that grabs you and will have you playing for round after round, and I'd stick with this version for that reason. It's one of my absolute favorite games to boot up when I have a few minutes to spare before heading out, or want a quick and easy game to play before bed. It's not every day that a genuinely enjoyable roguelike comes out, so when I booted up Splintered Fate for the first time, I had strong hopes, but was still a little skeptical. However, after playing it for multiple hours, I can safely say it's a solid and satisfying experience, with one specific factor that makes it worthwhile. While many roguelikes often nail the feel of your kicks, punches, and weapon strikes, they tend to lack in other areas, especially when it comes to forming a connection to your character. Of course, it depends on how story-heavy the game is, but oftentimes I feel like I'm just playing as a character because they're the default, or because their moveset makes it easier to blast through huge numbers of enemies. The problem is, Splintered Fate's 4 main characters all basically look identical, and their movesets, while different, aren't really distinct enough to make them meaningful. But where most roguelikes fall short, Splintered Fate excels. All of the dialogue is voice acted, but even more impressive, the writing of each character makes you feel invested in the mission the turtles are on. The devs captured a true feeling of brotherhood between the main characters, and especially between the turtles and their father, Master Splinter. It really does feel like you're playing through an episode of the show, which is really neat, even for a non-Turtles fan like myself. The actual combat is really well done too, and the difficulty ramps up just right as you progress in the run. The structure of the levels is perfect whether you want to blast through an entire run or take a break after beating a big boss fight, and it really does feel episodic. That structure makes it a great choice when you want a high-quality roguelike in a short amount of time. When I think of rhythm games, genre-bending hybrids don't typically come to mind. That is, until I finally downloaded this title and saw what made it so genius. Crypt of the Necrodancer has been recommended up and down every kind of list, and it definitely deserves it. But there's one element that makes this mashup outshine the others, and it's something I call movement pressure. As you can see, within the game, you're forced to move around a grid in time with the music that's playing. But there's a twist. As you move from square to square, an enemy nearby also moves at the same pace. This forces you to make split-second decisions and pits your strategy against your instincts. AKA, you're playing a turn-based chess game on crack. Or maybe it's more like ecstasy because of the music. Since the game is constantly pushing you forward at a constant beat, you always feel like you must strategize a way forward. But in order to do so, you have to act quickly within a shrinking window of time. Yet when a run ends and you lose, you want to jump back in right away to see how the next run will play out. It's a fantastic genre mixer that's intuitive to play, and the roguelike structure makes it adaptable if you only have a few minutes to spare. Like Splintered Fate, this game has top-notch design, controls, and even better music, so it's a great title to download for your library. Having played through this game once and now in the post-game, it's safe to say this is one of the best Nintendo projects in years. You probably already know or have heard how good DK Bonanza is, but there's a reason it's on this list in particular. One of the least talked about aspects of this game is the sheer joy of exploration. Sure, the mechanic of digging and pounding to explore is mentioned everywhere, but the real fun comes from just messing around in the world, even when you're not explicitly trying to progress forward. And that's where DK Bonanza feels really unique, in the absolute freedom it gives you to waste time and just have fun. Almost like your teacher gave you an extended recess break. That being said, there's always something new to bump into, and the challenge rooms also provide great variety. The near boundless freedom means you can truly explore at your own pace, whether for 20 minutes or an hour, and that makes Bonanza perfect for brief, quality-packed sessions. That being said, there's an insane number of Bonandium gems, some much harder to obtain than others. This means during a play session, you can focus on quantity, or if you're like me, spend 25 minutes figuring out how to get that one gem that's just out of reach. Either way, this is a completely adaptable game that fits your schedule, though you'll probably find it hard to put down. While a sprawling open-world game might seem like the last genre to show up at number 1, there's an often overlooked aspect that makes this game so enjoyable during short sessions. If you've played this one at all, you know this game is amazing at holding your attention. Yet even at small locations you come across, the interaction you have there always feels satisfying, and that's because of one reason. Breath of the Wild is secretly a DIY puzzle game. By creating a rule-based chemistry engine, the devs were able to evolve the traditional Zelda puzzle design into a world where the player created their own predicaments that you then solve your way out of organically. Technical director Takahiro Doda said, "This game was a world where combining simple elements could produce complex results." This innovation in puzzling is what gives Breath of the Wild such addicting gameplay, and it means you can play this game pretty much endlessly. That being said, no matter what you're doing in the game, it always delivers a satisfying gameplay loop within minutes, and that means it's perfect when you want a guaranteed 10 out of 10 experience in just 20 minutes. And if you get bored, there's always Tears of the Kingdom as well, but that might be too much for one list. While Breath of the Wild was a groundbreaking game, the Switch 1 was also a groundbreaking console, and you can find out why in this video. Subscribe for more Switch videos, and thanks for watching.